Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Real Rivalry. Imad and Anchit are back to discuss this past weekend's talking points from the Manchester United and Arsenal games. So we'll begin with Arsenal versus Wolves at first, and yet another defeat for Arsenal. And the big smile on my face can just tell you how much I enjoyed that game. So, Imad, one of the first things I noticed was yet again no plan going forward at all, huh?
Yeah, I mean, this is what we associated with attacking football with United for the last few years under David Moyes and LVG and Mourinho. This is what we used to laugh at and United fans about because it was just like park the bus and try and nick a goal. Just the main objective is just don't concede, and if you nick a goal and can nick the 3 points, great. Otherwise, yeah, just take home the 0-0. But honestly, we're not even good enough to go back to take a 0-0 away from it because defensively everything is being exposed again. Arteta, I mean, this is just not even to do with him. I mean, defensively we knew the players just aren't good enough. So when he switched to a back four like he did against a decent attacking team with Wolves, even though they didn't have Jimenez, we got completely exposed. I mean, there was no. I mean, you saw David Luiz go back to his old ways for the first goal, just zero closing down, and then Holding comes on in the second half. I mean, it's just not good enough. The players aren't good enough, and when things start to fall apart defensively, the one thing that Arteta's master plan is everything centers around is his defensive structure, and when that starts to go wrong, I mean,
There's
then
nothing left. Yeah.
there's nothing going for this manager then.
So, what I saw, why do you think defensively you're starting to concede more goals? Is it because you guys are trying to attack more, or because you're not playing three at the back every game anymore? That also, you tried the four at the back. So, why would you say suddenly the defensive shape is not looking as good as it did at the start of the season?
I mean, firstly, you're going back and forth from a back five or a back three to a back four. I mean, there's no consistency in that. Secondly, we know the personnel aren't good enough. I mean,
Hmm.
Gabriel's been brought in; he's definitely good enough, but David Luiz always has a mistake in him. Holding, I said multiple times before, and I'll keep saying it, is a championship level player. Never
Hmm.
should be playing for the Arsenal. And Bellerin again, extremely inconsistent. So I mean, they're just players in there that just aren't good enough.
Yeah,
And
Bellerin
and
definitely is not.
defensively, these we've had the same issues that we've had. I mean, I don't think they've been eradicated at all at the end of the day because the personnel are the same.
Hmm.
And the one thing that we did have going for us back, like last, even under Emery, was we could create chances, we could attack with flair, we had fluidity in the way we moved the ball forward, and that's just
That's
now
been
we're
removed
yeah,
completely.
it's
That's
just
been removed
we're done.
completely.
We have none of that anymore. So we're
Hmm.
literally looking like a championship team right now. I mean, like there was a stat I saw from that Wolves game that Adama Traore had five successful dribbles. I think two other Wolves players had three or four successful dribbles,
Right.
and the entire Arsenal team as a whole had two successful dribbles over 90 minutes. So that just tells you, and that
Right.
was probably a David Luiz dribble to get away from their striker. That was probably it.
Right. So why do you
So
think that is then? Like, do you think it's the manager stressing more on pass the ball, or do you think it's the players lacking confidence? Because Willian can dribble the ball. Actually, he was a dribble. He can dribble the ball. Aubameyang can run with it a little bit. So do you think? I'm sure Tierney can run with it. So do you think it's a little bit more of the
yeah,
instructions
I
from the
mean,
manager?
look, it's very evident that we don't have the right players right now. We need players who can ball carriers who can carry the ball. Out of the players you mentioned, only Willian is the one who can actually do that, and he's just not not on it right now. But
Hmm.
at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. We have much better players from the way that like from in comparison to the level of the performances that they're putting in. No way should they be putting in performances like this. And going back to the manager, yes, I do feel there are many more managers out there who would get way more out of these players. I mean, you look at teams like West Ham. You look at teams like Southampton. They don't have better players than Arsenal. They don't have
Yeah.
better creative players than Arsenal. They don't have better goal scorers than Arsenal. They don't have better wingers than Arsenal. Their managers are just getting them to getting the right tune out of those players, and this manager just isn't doing it with our players right now. And fans who are defending him can say all they want that he just doesn't have the personnel to do what he wants, but he's got to be doing a lot better than what he
Better,
is right
right?
now. and it's just nowhere near good enough. And I don't know how much time he has left, to be very honest.
Right, right. I mean, the thing is, even under Mourinho, I remember like in our third season, right? Like we came second in our second season, and then at the start of the third season, he wasn't backed at all. I think Fred was the only player we brought, and Diogo Dalot. And like the season started horribly. Mourinho was complaining. He was obviously very unhappy with the board. And and the fans, a lot of us said he wasn't backed, he wasn't backed. But at the same time, we started to realize that the team was significantly underperforming. Like even if you weren't backed, you still had Pogba, Martial, Rashford, Lukaku. You still had some good players in there to perform better than we were. We were losing
Exactly.
like every match, and it's kind of, you guys are in probably a worse state than what we were in that back then, in the sense that like he's still got a decent team. Like your player by player, you're at least as good as Wolves. Okay, you might not be better than them. I know Wolves have pretty solid
No, in
starting
terms of
11.
a system, Wolves are far better. But in
Right,
man for man, you would take 8 Arsenal players out of 11 if you
right.
hadn't seen their performances over the last few years at the teams they were at. But I mean, I'm not even talking about that, but like just going back to the mindset. I mean, in that second half, at least I saw some like something I haven't seen from an Arsenal team this whole season at home is like some drive, committing men forward, moving the ball a bit quicker. But at the end of the day, there was just no quality. There was no actual game plan in terms of what to do with the ball, what players who don't have the ball, what space do they go into once you release
Mm-hmm.
the ball? Where do you go into? I mean, people would pick up the ball in the midfield, and everyone is making runs forward. Every single player, no one's coming near to receive the ball. There doesn't
Right,
seem
no
to be
actual attacking
kind of,
system.
yeah. There's, I mean, even the chances we created were half chances. The goal we scored was just off a corner. I mean, it's just there was no moment for like for Wolves fans when their hearts were in their mouths. I mean, it was just there was no goal line. I mean, we didn't pepper them. We didn't even come close. Like it was just not
No
like what you
real.
would expect. Yeah, and they picked it up a bit in the second half, but they just lack the quality. I mean, the players right now lack the quality as well. I mean, they shouldn't,
They
but as
lack
a team,
confidence.
yeah,
They
and
lack confidence.
as a unit, they don't know how to attack as a unit. And where does that come from? That comes from the manager. It's as
Hmm.
simple as that. I mean, you're not going to ship out a squad of 11 players. You have to look at the guy who's managing them and what he's getting
Right.
out of them. And I don't see any change. Like in every single game, it's the same thing. There's no change to what he's doing. There's no rectifying the previous mistakes he's made. I mean,
Right.
certain players are just getting to play ahead of others based on merit. I don't know what it is. And now all the big decisions that Arteta made, leaving Özil out, everything is backfiring now. I
Right.
mean,
Right. The Ozil one
so
definitely
yeah,
is.
and I mean when you look at the fact that we are the worst team in terms of creativity, one of the worst teams in terms of creativity, something you never associate with Arsenal, and
Hmm.
then you think about his decision to leave out Özil a few months ago of the entire squad. I
Right.
mean,
Doesn't make any sense.
what was he doing? Like, I mean, it's just baffling, and he's just digging his own grave, if you ask me.
Right. I think it's time to try something new. Maybe I don't know why he doesn't try to start with Reece Nelson, change the personnel around a bit. Maybe try
No, no, no,
try
no,
to.
no, no, no. Fuck Reece Nelson.
He's
Fuck,
also not
fuck
good
Reece
enough.
Nelson.
Yeah, maybe Ainsley Maitland-Niles
I
at right
I
back
don't think
instead of
so.
Bellerin. Maybe that
Yeah,
might work. He needs to change it
yeah,
around a bit. Maybe 4-4-2, put Lacazette and Aubameyang together up front because at least you have two good forwards. So
yeah.
it's time to try to
And
change
what I did, what
something.
I just want to put it out that the other thing I didn't really like, because I saw Arteta's pre-match and uh, he was asked why Arsenal's form has been so poor in the league and why we've been struggling for goals, and he had the audacity to say our form has been good in Europe, but we can't replicate that in the league. Like,
Europa League,
I mean,
yeah.
I thought the one thing he was good at was at least talking well, and when he said that, I just couldn't understand why he would say
Right.
that. I mean, he could have just straight up said, yeah, it's been below par in the league, and he just didn't answer, then just deflected away from the question about lack of creativity, because now he doesn't want that Ozil thing to come up again, because he knows that it's all down to him.
Right,
And the
right.
other, just one last point on this is, it was 1 year since we sacked Emery, and Emery's probably going to be looking at probably delighted at the fact that Arsenal went for a manager like Arteta and not for an Allegri, because it's making him look like a much better manager, and it's making Arsenal fans eat their hearts out again, because
Right.
at this rate, I mean, who's to say? I mean, Emery, it was going badly for him. He didn't win a trophy. Okay, Arteta did, but we could see positivity in some performances. There wasn't. so much negativity in terms of the way we play, and
Right, right. And
I don't see
nothing's
where we go.
Nothing's improving.
Yeah,
Like week in, week out, it's bad. Like, and you guys have Tottenham
yeah,
away next. So how long do you
yeah.
think you'd give him now? Like looking at the performances, how poor they've been the past 3, 4 weeks. Like, how much longer do you give him before you have to look elsewhere for a better manager?
Um, I feel like Tottenham away, if we lose, he's got to go.
He's got
I
to
mean,
go.
no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. No, no, no. I mean, yeah, I would personally. I mean, realistically, that's never ever going to happen, obviously. I
Hmm.
think he'll be given a lot of time, but I mean, fans will be out for his neck if we lose against Spurs. And if we put in another performance going forward the way we did, a negative performance where we, I mean, if he can do what he did against United at Old Trafford and it comes off, it'll be brilliant. I mean, in terms of even the way, if it's a tight game, but
Right.
if we're negative in our approach and we concede early and we
Hmm.
have no game plan in terms of how to attack them,
That's going to be a
um,
problem.
yeah, and then the questions are going to come up again. No progress, and yeah, I honestly don't see anything positive coming in the next few
Right.
weeks for him. So
I think you speak for a lot of other Arsenal fans out there that I think they feel the same
yeah,
way. But anyway, we'll talk about the next Arsenal game on the weekend. But let's switch to
can't wait.
something positive now. So Manchester United recorded a huge win this weekend. I really didn't see it coming after 2-0 down. Did you get a chance to watch the game or the highlights?
I actually did watch the game. I was at a friend's place who's a United fan, and we were watching it with a couple of his mates. So
Were you expecting that we'd come back? Did you at all think that we would?
um, I I mean, I did think that you guys would really start piling on the pressure. Because I mean, and I say that, I mean, that's a given. But when you're an Arsenal fan, and like in this day and age, like you don't even, it's not even a given that you pile on the pressure when you're 2 goals down at home.
Hmm.
So I mean, I was expecting United to really go for it, and the minute they got that first goal, I think it was Bruno. The minute he got that first goal, I mean, every time he got
Mhm.
the ball, he looked like he was going to do something,
Something special, yeah.
and yeah, I mean, there looked like at least there was some coherence in terms of the way the team were moving the ball, and you moving the ball with purpose, men committing forward, and
Right,
uh,
exactly.
accurate passing. So, I mean, definitely, I mean, it has been inconsistent for United, but I'm sure you're happy to see that you do have these performances in you, and you can pull
Right,
these wins out the bag. And Southampton are doing well, so
right.
yeah,
Southampton
good. I
are a
mean,
really good team.
I was impressed. I mean, yeah, I was really upset because I was hoping it would just finish as a draw when it was 2-2. But
We
I mean,
pulled
yeah,
a
you
late winner that I really enjoyed out of the bag, man. Cavani, that was excellent. So something that I've noticed with United, right, this year and especially under Solskjaer, like every single time we're under immense pressure, this manager has got the ability to get the team up and just go on a winning run, and he's done it yet again. Like I think I remember like a few weeks ago after
you're Ollie in
Arsenal game.
again.
I mean, I'm not necessarily Ollie in. I've been like in the middle throughout his reign. I just can't tell whether he's the right guy to take us to a title or take us to where we need to be. But at the same time, one thing I think no United fan can argue that he's done more than enough to not deserve the sack. You can't kick him out based on what he's done, right? He in his first entire season, he finished in the top four, right? He came third. We reached three semifinals. And so far this season, okay, the Premier League form has been woeful. Like at least the home form is terrible, but the away form is sensational. We're on our best away
Yeah,
run ever,
eight
I think.
straight wins. Yeah,
Straight wins. So it's
that's
insane. And
incredible. Yeah.
so again, Jekyll and Hyde there, like home form bad, away from excellent. But look at our Champions League also. I know that tomorrow we
Mm.
have PSG. It's still going to be tough, but honestly, we've been very good in the Champions League. He's beaten some of the biggest teams like in England and in Europe. So I think he's done enough to still deserve to stay in the job. The jury's still out, right? Let's see where we are. If he can't finish in the top four end of the season, I think he needs to go. But that's where I'm at. Like I'm gonna judge it game by game. I'm not flip flopping or anything. I know that
Yeah, it's
there
a
are a lot
tough
of
one
things.
with Oli because I mean, there's so many negatives that you can take from it, but at the end of the day, I mean, there's so many positives as well.
Right.
I mean, it was similar with Arsenal and Arteta to begin with, right? I mean, people were saying there's so many positives because defensively we had improved, but now that seems to slowly be outweighing the fact that we're so shit going forward.
Right,
So
right,
I mean, it's about what kind of a balance you want, and it's a fine line. But with Oli, I mean, I feel like the fact that he is doing well in the Champions League and 8 straight away wins in the league, that's unheard of.
right.
He's not able to crack breaking down like the smaller teams at home.
Exactly.
That's one thing he needs to get. But at least you see progress, and at least you see like that's at least one area he needs to work on. He seems to have got a grip on away games and these tougher games against
Games,
Southampton
right.
who are flying right now. He seems to at least play good attacking, positive football most of the
Right,
time.
right. It
So
depends. I think that I've seen
yeah,
both sides of it. But yeah, and like coming back to the game specifically, right? Like also the United's ability to now fight back. Like we haven't had this since Ferguson, honestly speaking. We've seen many big fight backs again under Solskjaer, that PSG turnaround, right? Where when he first was the interim manager, where we were 2-0 down at home, and then away we went and we won the game. Then again, this year so far, every single away game this season, we've been down a goal. And every single away game we've won. So this time we were 2-0 down, honestly down. I didn't think we'd come back, man. I thought it was done. But for a change, he made a substitution early on in the half, which he normally does, early on in the second half, which he doesn't do. So I think he made a halftime substitution, brought on Cavani, completely changed the game on his head. And what a performance, honestly, for a United fan. It's been a long time, man, since I've seen a traditional number nine performance. Like I'd forgotten what it looked like an RVP, for instance, for us
hmm,
was our last traditional number nine, where the
yeah,
like Martial, for instance, he drops back a lot. He
or
likes
an
to,
Ibra.
yeah, or an Ibra, for instance, yeah, like an Ibra type of performance, knows where to be in the box and isn't gonna. And his movement was excellent as well. Cavani's movement was insane. So it was very good to see. I think he's added another dimension to our team now. So let's say if Martial's not in form, we can always play Cavani in there, who's going to be good, who's a great header of the ball, has phenomenal movement, is probably the best finisher in our team already. So really looking forward to that now. What did you?
Yeah, I mean, I was impressed with Cavani as well because he had a lot of his doubters when he joined.
Yep, yep.
But Cavani will be a great squad player for you to have. I mean, you can throw him on, and when you need a goal, and he knows how to find the back of the net. I mean, it is a
Right,
short-term thing, so not one I'm usually devastated when United snatch up a quality world-class player. But the fact that he is in
right.
the end of his career is a bit of a consolation. So, but I mean, yeah, he's definitely a good bit of short-term business, and yeah, he did the business for you, I guess.
Right, exactly. So now moving forward for us, what I'm looking for is obviously now PSG at home tomorrow. Try to get a draw at least. We need another point, I think, and we'll be through to the Champions League. We have 9 points now. And then win away at West Ham. That's going to be another tough game coming up. So now I
Yeah,
just
but
want
you
to.
guys will probably do it. I feel like West Ham is the kind of game that Ollie would thrive on.
Right, right. I hope
Nothing to
so. Then we have
nothing
City away.
with yeah. I mean,
City at home,
eh,
sorry. So I want to see some consistency, basically, man. Like there's not a huge difference between, if you look at the points, right? Even though we've had a woeful start, I think we're what, sixth or seventh now in the league. We have a game in hand, and if we win that game in hand, I know it's a big if, but if we won it, we're 2 points off the top. So not so like
I
now.
mean, hey, we can still finish in the top four mathematically. It is. I mean, there's
Right. It's all about performances, right? So I kind of want to see, like, I hope we've actually turned a corner. I just don't want to be in a situation where, okay, let's just say we beat West Ham, but then we have City at home and our home form comes back to bite us. Like, I just don't want to see this inconsistency anymore where you win one, lose one, win one, lose one. I'm hoping that
hmm,
now at least we have put together, like, now at least we can go ahead and put together a strong run.
I doubt
So
it, but yeah.
I hope so we can. And the last thing I want to mention is Donny van der Beek, man. What a performance by him. Like I
Yeah,
would be
I was
shocked.
impressed. I was impressed.
I
Yeah,
would be shocked if he doesn't
and
start.
it's honestly, I think it's disgraceful that he hasn't. I mean, he hadn't been starting earlier. I don't
Right.
understand how
Nobody
McTominay was
does.
playing ahead of him. I mean, some of these managerial decisions by these guys just baffle me. I mean, Arteta with so many of his decisions. I mean, Oli with some
Right.
of his.
Some
I
of
mean,
his, it's shocking. Like it's
it's
so surprising. But
just I
hope,
mean, they're just digging their own grave. I feel it's costing them results, which are eventually gonna get them the sack. I feel,
yeah,
and Arteta, I
exactly.
just feel like it's gonna be his head very soon. So Not positive. I mean, it's really sad days. I'm not even angry anymore now because you're just used to seeing it every single week. You're just expecting really boring performances where you don't create any chances and just bad quality players,
Right, right,
poor
right,
management, wrong substitutions, wrong starting 11s. I mean, there's just nothing going right at Arsenal right now, and
right,
it's
right.
just
No,
it's
I
just
see
not
it.
not pleasant.
Right. Well, okay, so that was the match review for the United and Arsenal games from the weekend. Thank you guys for tuning in, and Imad and Anshit will be back again next week to discuss the coming weekend's fixtures. Thank you.